back to another video. So you guys may have seen posted on my Instagram the other day a rendering of the new 2020 GMC 3500 dually. And well, that thing was just so beautiful, I decided we need to make a video to talk about it. So a while back, Chevy released a teaser picture of their new HD trucks. And the reason this is relevant to the new GMC trucks is obviously Chevy, GMC, same company, and they use a lot of the same components. Mainly the reason I actually brought this up is because I want you to take a look at the mirrors. So as you know, Chevy has redesigned the mirrors of their entire line of truck. They no longer mount kind of behind the A-pillar right next to the window like they used to, which therefore kind of ends the era of being able to swap GM mirrors between almost every model truck they've ever made. Now we're going to be starting a new generation of trucks and truck mirrors. But obviously you didn't click on the video to talk about the Chevy HD trucks. You clicked to talk about this big, bad, beautiful Denali dually. So first of all, before we jump into talking about the truck, this rendering was made by Innovate Design Lab, and if you guys have seen them on Instagram lately, they are crushing it with their renderings, from animated renderings to stuff that you can't even tell whether or not it's a rendering or real. They're just doing a really good job over there. So make sure you check them out on Instagram. Now when I posted this on my Instagram, everybody said, yeah man, but it's a dually. Would you really get a dually? And I don't know if you guys remember, back when I was looking for a new truck, I was actually heavily researching getting a dually. And it took everything I had to not get a dually because there's just something so beautiful about a dually truck. You know, the Mega Cab Ram dualies was one of my favorite trucks in the last 10 years. And then now looking at Ford's new F450s, especially the one that Kelderman did. I don't know if you guys have seen that. I'll post a picture of that one right here. That truck is just absolutely gorgeous, and it was one of my favorite trucks. So I was really actually in the hunt for a Denali dually. And the whole reason I kind of backed out of not going with the dually is just the width of it. Parking where I live and in Southern California, just sucks in general. And my truck as it sits right now on the 14 wides is essentially almost as wide as a stock dually. Now if I were to lift my dually, put wider tires on it, I'm going to end up being almost 8 inches wider per side. My truck right now barely fits line to line touching in a parking spot. There's just no way I'd be able to park that dually anywhere, and the whole point of building these trucks, for me at least, is I want them to be daily drivers. One of the other things I ran into when I was actually pricing out and figuring out everything I'm going to be doing when I'm going to buy a dually, that's how close I got to buying a dually, was finding rear tires that fit and don't rub and actually have an aggressive stance. In R40s, it was really hard. There's not very many manufacturers that make them, and you got to do some kind of hokey stuff in the back to make them fit without rubbing. A lot of people just let them rub, and to me that just sounds like a bad idea with heat and everything building up. I didn't want to risk that. So the only way I figured out how to do it was going to make the truck extremely wide. So I can't park the truck anywhere, I'm not going to drive it, and that just kind of defeated the purpose, and that's the reason I backed out of going with the dually. But seeing this beautiful truck re-sparks all of that lust I had for a dually, and it really makes me consider if they can ever tune an L5P. And I know EasyLink released a module that talks to the ECM of the L5P, but currently it only accepts stock tunes, so there's still work to be done. Please don't blow up the comments on tuners for the L5Ps. Now obviously GMC has not released a picture of their HD trucks. So this front end is essentially an altered view of the 1500 trucks, because obviously those are out. But all I can say is I really hope GM took notes, or obviously their truck's already built prior to this render comes out, but hopefully GM went this route, because I know we were all kind of in the same boat when Chevy released the new truck for 2019 and nobody liked it until you see them lifted. And like any truck, the second they come out, everybody hates it, but then they start to grow on you. And this front end has really grown on me, and especially in this size, it is beautiful. I love it. Now speaking of size, this is clearly an extremely lifted dually. Now the cool thing about dualies is you don't need to lift them that tall to make them look aggressive and mean and just like a badass truck. You really can get away with, say, like a 6-inch lift and some 37s, depending on what you can fit. Obviously Fords, you can fit bigger tires because they believe in round wheel wells. Now we are starting to get rounder wheel wells, so that's a good sign. But obviously this configuration looks to be about a 14-inch lift, I'd say, and probably 26s, maybe 28s on 42s, something like that. They're definitely large wheels. Now you guys know for my truck, and the reason I went 22s is because I like to have a decent amount of meat on the tire. Now I know it doesn't look super showy. Super showy is bigger wheel, smaller tire, or at least less sidewall per wheel. But to me, the configuration I have is perfect. You know, 37s, 20-inch wheel, 40s, 22. If I were to jump up to a 42-inch tire, then I would run a 24-inch wheel. But I'd be hard-pressed to say this truck does not look good this high up in the air, and as you guys know, I do like my trucks really lifted. So So the cool thing about a dually is you really can go either way on height and they look just as good. And I know some of you guys are going to say for towing wise this is useless. Obviously you're not going to be hooking up a fifth wheel to this. Now you still can tow a bumper pole just fine, especially if you have a Gen Y hitch with a 32,000 pound capacity. You're going to be alright. But if you want to tow a fifth wheel, obviously you're going to be more in the 6-inch lift range, which benefits you having a dually. Now one thing that I don't necessarily know is true on the rendering is obviously the mirrors. If you looked at the Chevy rendering, you saw that the mirrors looked a little different. These are kind of just Photoshop stretched mirrors off of the 1500, whereas the true HD mirrors I think look a little bit different. Now one of my favorite parts about dually trucks is the dually fender in the rear. Obviously gotta go bigger fenders to fit the extra tire. And a lot of trucks have kind of missed that mark. I know some of the earlier like single cab Rams, it's just a big giant swoop of the bed. And I know Chevy, it depending on the truck or the model year, some of the dually fenders look better than others. But one thing I've always liked about the Fords, especially the new body styles that are out right now, is that the dually fender is just really sharp angles and it doesn't encompass the entire bed. I'd rather the bed be somewhat normal of a body line, then jut out for the tire, and I think Ford really nailed it. Now obviously we don't know exactly what the GM dually fenders are going to look like, but we've got a pretty good idea and I'll show you the spy shots in a second. But a dually fender of this style really sets off the look of this entire truck. I need to switch to the next picture, but I just can't stop looking at this thing. Now sorry this picture's a little bit blurry, but this is the best one I can find. Here we have a spy shot of the actual 2020 GMC dually. And if you look real closely, you'll start to see that it looks like some of these dually fender lines actually do mimic the rendering, which is going to be really cool. Obviously the mirrors are a little bit different, and they almost look like they are Ram style fold down mirrors. Obviously I don't think they fold down, but it does look like we may or may not have the option of power telescoping, which is going to be great because it's a feature that we've been missing out for a long time. And then if you guys want to browse the internet and pull up some more spy shots for yourself, you'll see a lot of the little features that it has that we've been missing for a while, one of which being there is a front camera on the truck now. One thing we do know for sure though, just based on the 1500 GM trucks, is that we're going to be getting a lot of tech features that we've been really missing out on. One obviously being the keyless push to start. Now to me, I never really liked that feature. To me, I've always just liked the hard key. I like my shifter up on the column. To me, that's kind of what makes a truck a truck. But in driving cars that have the keyless push to start, it really is nice to just leave the key in your pocket. They definitely do have a lot of other cool features. I'm not going to go too deep into what the 1500 trucks have. We might actually go to the dealership and check one out. That way you guys can get like a hands-on review of the new 1500 trucks. But a lot of cool features like the back seat with the storage compartment built into the seat, stuff like that. It's about time Chevy really starts to kind of change little niche stuff up like that. I know it's not like a huge change, and to you Ford guys that are getting like huge technological advances, you're probably saying that's a joke, that they're going to use that to try and sell more trucks. But little stuff like that's cool, you know? We don't get that very often, and I'll take my tried and true powertrain over having little features like that any day. And I can already see the Ford battle sparking right now. Keep in mind, guys, I have owned just as many Fords at this point as I did GM trucks. And I will say, and I will admit, Ford makes beautiful trucks. The F450 makes me drool every time I see one drive by. I must say though, guys, I am super excited to see these things start to roll out from the factory, and I know we're going to be looking into them later in the year in 2019. Obviously, Chevy releases the 1500 new body styles a year later than the HD trucks. So we're just starting to see the 2019 1500s hit the lot now. So towards the end of 2019 is when we'll start to see these, or hopefully some rendition that looks just like this, hitting the lots. Now, will I sell my truck and go buy one of these dualies and start a new build for the following year? It's going to be really hard to say no to that. These trucks are just beautiful, and the only thing that's stopping me, it's kind of the thing that's been stopping me this entire time, is the L5P being not tunable. The second they get that figured out, I'm going to be really hard pressed to not swap trucks and build something just like this. In fact, I even love this color. And now that I've put color on a lift kit, I think I'm starting to get better at color, or starting to appreciate color more. So I think I don't know what color this is. It's got like a silvery tan, but they nailed it with the wrap on this one. But anyways, I just wanted to make this quick video. I know a lot of you had requested it in the comments on my Instagram to talk about the truck. Don't forget to check out Innovate Design Lab. I'll put a link down in the info for them because they are just crushing the truck rendering game. So as always, guys, thank you for watching my videos. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button now, that we can keep up with the BBB build, and maybe one day, make sure you give this video a like, aka a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out WORKFORITapparel.com, because if there's anything you want in this life, like a beautiful lifted Denali dually, you gotta be willing to work for it. In fact, we're in WORKFORIT International headquarters right now, obviously. Thanks for watching. I'm out.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah.